no decaf. Live every weekday, 6:30 in the morning, Central Time. Did you hear what I said? Central Time. We talk dogs, bloodline building to yard work, from stud talk to the truth behind the pups. This ain't no highlight reel. It's how you really build legacy. Shogun Bros, no decaf. Pull up, pull up, handle yours. This ain't just content. It's culture. Welcome to the Cookout with Toyo, where family vibes meet front porch truth. No scripts, no filters, just heart, heat, and hot plates. Ooh. Step up with elevated perspective, with elevated game for grown men and women building mind, spirit, and vision. And men at work with Pimps Over Simps. Church, real convos, no cap, all purpose for the men behind the mission. 3 shows, 1 network, all gas, no decaf. Put no creamer in my man. Look, Shogun Unlimited, man. Press play and get man. Come on, press play, press play.
Yep.
Hey, what's happening, man? Yeah,
Chilling.
yes, sir.
We've had rain a couple of days the last few days, and man, it is chilly for some reason.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, man.
but yeah, at the end of the show yesterday, we brought up breeding a female too young.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just going to speak on Medusa a little bit and my experience from that.
Salute, Welsh. What's happening?
Yes, sir. Let me open these comments over there. So Mason was 6 years old, right? And Medusa was probably a year and a couple months old. And I was getting nervous that I wouldn't be able to breed him, right? You know, because he was getting older. And so whenever she come in the heat, I was debating breeding her or not. And like towards the end, I just was like, hell, I'm gonna throw him in a kennel. I doubt he'll ever lock up with her because she was just so wild. Well, I was mowing the yard, and I turn around and hell, they're locked up butt to butt, facing opposite ways, like I did it. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, damn, holy cow! And I mean, I got the video still. I was like, holy crap! And either way, they only locked up once. And then 60-something days later, she had some pups. And she had them in the middle of the day. And I'm albino, so I'm standing out there getting my ass sunburnt while delivering these puppies. And then she would pop them out, but she didn't want to bust the sacks at all. She was young, so she just didn't want to bust the sacks. But I busted all the sacks, threw them all away. She's the only dog I've ever seen that didn't eat all the sacks. I had to throw every one of them away, and because she wouldn't even mess with them. But then I would put the puppies on her nipples, and like she'd lay there, she'd let them, you know, she'd let them feed. She was a good mama after that. But as far as like if you wasn't home to assist her, every one of them puppies probably would have died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She might have figured it out after 1 or 2, you know, but like she just didn't have no interest in doing that. So I busted all the sacks. I cut all the umbilical cords with my medical scissors. I got them going, and then I'd put them on the nipple. And that's just my experience of breeding a dog too young. I mean, like she even necessarily wasn't too young by the time she had them, but yeah, I mean, it was I should have waited, but that was a little bit of me being impatient. And now I'm kind of glad I didn't because I have like great grandkids off of that. So
yeah,
I would be like 1 step behind than I am now if I would have waited a little longer.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm glad sometimes you gotta roll the dice a little bit in this breeding thing. Everybody wants to set standards to it, but there's different circumstances that can change your standard a little bit.
Yeah. Lone Wolf, what's happening?
Yes, sir. Welsh put a pedigree up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's just my experience. Like I will say like she didn't eat all the sacks, and I'm sure there's like a lot of nutrients a mama needs in that. And she ended up did having like the hair fall out on her belly and stuff. The only dog I've ever seen. I had to add supplements to her to get her like hair to grow back.
Mm.
I think it was
Yeah.
just a deficiency.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wells Walker, what's happening, man? Yeah. Nah, I've seen like I was saying, and I've heard of all different types of cases and scenarios where it's not, I wouldn't necessarily say warranted, but you know, it was a need to, you know, for whatever reason to breed the dog at a young age.
Yep.
I'm more of a patient person myself, man. If it ain't meant to be, it ain't meant to be. You know, I think forcing things sometimes you can end up with worse results than what you ever expected, or put yourself in a position, you know, chasing after something, push it too hard, you know, trying to make it happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
To get it this big and to grow like I have, I've had to push a little bit. You know, make things happen because like we're coming in. The way I see it, like I come into a world where people's already, you know, they got their ideas set and stuff like that. So I have kind of had to push a little bit, you know, to make my shit work.
What you mean?
Like so they already have like set ideas of the dogs they like to see in pedigrees and stuff like that. So like I've had to push Mason and these dogs out to like the forefront myself, you know what I mean? Or they wouldn't have stood out, you know, like that nobody would know who they are if I wouldn't have been like pushing these dogs, saying Freemason bloodline every time anybody ever sees me. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I have had to push a little bit to even make it relevant. You know, like go to these dog shows. There's been a few I've went to that I financially probably shouldn't have went to, but I rolled that dice and went. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
yeah. So, no, that's why I say, man. Okay, so it's one thing to show up and sincerely, you know, compete. Like I'm trying to compete to win, and then it's another thing to just show up just to be a part of it and participate. And I think you do a mix of both, you know. And you know that's one thing that I think is dope, man, because you know, you like I say, man, you don't duck or dodge anything. You all about the dogs, showcasing the dogs and everything. And you know, you live this, so you know, at the same time, like, yeah, you know, what you building is something that you definitely have to get out there and promote, you know, and let it be known. But just the way that you moving anyway, you know, it speaks volumes for what you got going, you know, for your program anyway. Yeah, man, because
I was at the ADBA show in Morganton.
Oh yeah.
Click C, ask if I was there. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you gotta read the comments. Show. You gotta read them comments out loud, man.
He said, "Elevated. Were you in the Morganton or in Morganton at the ADBA show?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first ADBA show. It was all right.
Was it? Were you there? Quick. You was there.
The only thing I can say that I don't know about the second day, but the first day, the fun classes, that lady didn't even give them a fair judgment. I will say that. Okay, so was the judging on the fun classes better the second day? Because I mean, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but it kind of acted like that was like a waste of her time, the fun shows. Like, I don't know. Like, they're paid to be seen. You should at least give them a fair chance. You know what I mean?
Facts.
I mean, I don't know. That's just something Like I've seen dogs get looked over, and I'm like, nah, ain't no way.
It's always a play of favoritism.
Mm-hmm.
And and if it isn't not, if it's not to the owner or the kennel, it could be to the line. It could be to the, it could be a lot. Is a judge likes what a judge likes and is attracted to what a judge is attracted to.
Yeah, the first. So he said I didn't see the first day, but the second day they had an ADBA judge there. I mean, this lady was the ADBA judge too. I'm just saying, I ain't trying to,
Yeah.
I ain't trying to be disrespectful or nothing to her. She after that, the judging she did on the main show was like phenomenal. She was looking them over, you know what I mean, like really studying the dogs. But she should have done that to the fun show too. You know what I mean? Like, there's people travel and are only able to enter that. You know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
you plan on what's some upcoming shows you going to?
So they're trying to figure out a venue for the dog days of summer, which should be in June maybe, and then July 26th, I believe it is this year. I'll have to look real quick. I'll be at the pig picking for sure.
Yeah,
July 26th. So the pig picking's always the last Saturday in July. For anybody wondering and interested, it's always the last Saturday in July.
Yeah, man.
And I'll definitely be there for that.
Just like the digital dog shows, the first week of every month. First Saturday. Yeah.
Keep things consistent. People will come through more often.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. Yeah.
I mean, there's people that travels from all over to the pig picking.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I love that show. I love that venue. Like the people that's there. I've been to a bunch of dog shows and none of them compare.
Yeah, I seen going over there in Russia, doing this thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. So for anybody, Garner's been out there with these bulldogs the whole time. You know what I mean? The fact that what's changed him about showing them off on the internet, I don't know. But he's been out there bulldogging the whole time. Like I've known of people to go up there for years and he was out there when we did the breeding and stuff like that before. So like, I don't know. He fools with them a lot. And if you're standing there in person and you hear how he talks about them, he'll be at the pig picking. Cool. Come up and talk to me, man.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like, you can't. It's hard to be on the level he is and like not have a little bit of an interest to make sure everything's going the way you want it to. You know what I mean? If he wasn't never out there, them yard boys could change his whole yard in a few years. You know what I mean? But the fact that he's out there doing it, that determines whether or not the future.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. Just if it's in you, it's in you. And then if it never leaves, it's gone. It's he still got it in him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's awesome to watch him out there. I hope that one day I'm able to still do my dogs at that age. And take care of them and shoot. He's a beast.
Yeah, man.
As far as physical build, he's a beast. His age.
Just think about Boudreaux. If Boudreaux could move around and do, I believe he have his hands on the dogs.
Yeah, he definitely would. His love for the dogs is like, I don't know, that little clip on Game Dog Talk of talking to them, dude. That was priceless for me to watch. Like that was priceless.
Yeah.
I don't know. I told him, I said, sir, this is gonna live on, trust me. He said, thank you so much. I love y'all. And talking to the crowd.
Man.
Watching. I mean, that was powerful to,
Yeah. Think of how many generations of dogs he been through.
Oh, they ain't no telling. I'd like to know like just like a roundabout number. What's the longest family of dogs that he bred? You know what I mean? That he kept going. Like how many
Yeah,
generations is that from start to where we're at today? That'd be
yeah.
interesting to figure out.
What's happening with your pups?
They just chilling. They just
Yeah,
chilling. I'm letting her
yeah,
do her thing with them. You know what I mean? She's been a really good mama, so I haven't had to mess with them much.
yeah,
I moved the doghouse. The door was kind of angled downhill, and she took one of the puppies out, hooked to her nipple, so I had to move the doghouse around.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was hooked on when she went out of the doghouse, I guess.
yeah, man.
I had the TV on. I was washing dishes and cooking, and I was like, "What's that noise?" And my cousin and my fiance was here, and they're like, "I don't hear nothing." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Pause that." And they paused it, and I was like, "Nah, that." I went outside, and there was a puppy out. I was like, "I knew I heard that."
yeah.
Hell, she's probably 50 yards away from my house. I still heard it.
Man.
One thing I can say, this being blind, I can hear like a hawk.
I know you probably got a good sense of smell too.
So I have fucked up sinuses. I have a deviated
Oh,
septum from
yeah.
boxing, and
Uh-huh.
no, I can't smell shit hardly.
From what?
Boxing, me and my brothers.
Oh, what
We grew.
happened?
I grew up in boxing gloves.
Okay.
Like that was just something my stepdad. I mean, if we had a problem, he'd put boxing gloves on us. Here, settle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you're that mad about it, here you go. Don't be punching each other without them. But if we'll put them on, we had the headgear and everything.
yeah.
My brother, he broke my nose one day when we were like, I was probably like 11.
You
He was only 9.
yeah, did he take you to get it fixed, or did he fix it himself?
Oh, I mean, it wasn't that bad. It's
Uh-huh.
just bad enough to keep my nostrils swelled up where I can't breathe hardly. But
Yeah.
it's not like noticeably crooked.
Mm-hmm.
But so my nose, as far as that goes, is messed up. But I mean, I have good intuition as far as like gut feeling and hearing, and some of them are my stronger ones,
Yeah.
stronger senses. I like that dog a lot, man.
Man, that's a good
Thanks,
looking
all.
dog, man. It's got good bone structure. Look like it well portioned out. Nice body.
If they
Good
breed
rear end.
chainsaw to Marisol, they can
Yeah.
make buzzsaw or bonesaw, or you know what I mean. You
Or
can
they can
name.
they can make Jason. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Have Freddie and Jason all focused.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like names like that a little bit. That's one thing I like about Tom's dogs. He'll name them cool ways like that.
Yeah.
Like what's the name of that one? Something squared because of the way it's
Yeah.
bred. I
Yeah.
can't remember, but he's got some cool names that he's come up with. I'm like, no, that's cool. Because I mean, I'm running out of names. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
start getting creative. I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
give 2 of these puppies throwback names.
Like
I
what?
think. So my little male, I think I'm gonna name him Tacoma Jack, and then my little red female, I think I'm gonna name her Carolina Flo, and
Yeah.
then the brindle bitch, I think I'm gonna name her Pepper.
Yeah.
I ain't decided yet for sure, but that's the names I'm floating around right now.
Yeah.
So my daughter said we should name the little male Jack, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
all right. So I got to thinking about that. I was like, we could name him Jax, that's
Uh-huh.
already in my pedigree. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
nah, I'm gonna name him Tacoma Jack. He looks
Yeah.
like Tacoma Jack as far as the colors.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So for me, naming dogs, man, I try my damnness to do 2-syllable names. You know, from my understanding, they respond better to 2-syllable names. So I try to. That's just something I practice. It was something that my mother had told me when I was a kid, and it just stuck. That's So I try to keep all the names 2 syllables. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. A lot of mine have one syllable names like
Jack,
Rogue,
you know,
Jack,
yeah. But see, Mason, that's a
Jake.
2-syllable.
Yeah.
That's a 2-syllable. Yeah. You know what I'm
My
saying?
brother,
That's
my brother named him.
yeah. He probably
Actually,
was. Yeah.
if it was up to me, his name probably would have been Chevy. To be
Chevy.
honest with you.
Oh, that's a
Yeah, that's
name.
what.
Hey, that's a good name. I
I was
like
gonna
this.
name him
It's
Chevy.
hey, it's better than Ford. It's sure as hell better than Mustang. Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so. I was like, Hunter was just like, I was like, I think I'm gonna name him this. I think I'm gonna name him that. I think I'm gonna name him this. And my
Yeah.
brother was like, name him Mason.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That fits him for some reason.
What was the purpose behind Mason? What was what's the story behind, like, as far as what does Mason mean? Is it did you name it Mason behind the Freemasons?
No. That come later on. The only reason I chose the Freemason bloodline name, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
there's Clyde Mason and Mason's Hogs. So I didn't want to name them the Mason Dogs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because there already is, and I didn't want them to get confused with each other. You know what I mean? People thinking that these are Mason's Hog Dogs, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I use them. I was like, if I pick something that people already kind of knows, you know what I mean? And when they hear it, they think Freemason, you know, start thinking Illuminati and all this stuff, and it just makes your mind race. So like, that's the only reason I chose the Freemason bloodline name, just to give it something that sounded like it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like people don't think about it when you're going to pick these names. If you pick something that already sounds legit, you know what I mean? Then it'll just carry on. It already sounds like something that, you know what I mean, people would be saying. Like Camelot, right?
Yeah.
Like that name, that's a cool name, and people carried it.
So yesterday you were speaking about your family lineage when it comes to you and these dogs, and how you obtained Mason, and pretty much going from damn near a combination of your mother and father. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So Elevated doesn't have a dog. You don't have anything. You got a yard, but you don't got any dogs. You started from scratch. What are you doing? Are you chasing after whatever blood is left? And you don't have any pups from your parents. You know what I'm saying? None of the dogs that you sold or anything you don't have access to.
Yeah.
Are you going to try to chase after the blood that to try to recreate that by going back to the formula that your dad had, or going to the people that he fooled with, and linking up with your mother?
Now C said, what's his budget? So do I have a budget number?
I would say, I don't know. Let's see, man. Let's say that you got enough budget to get you a litter if you need, if that's the way you wanted to go.
Yeah.
A whole you could purchase an entire litter if that's the way you decided to go. Whatever number that may be.
If something happened to my stuff now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe the name is Garner's Tyrone, right?
Mm-hmm. So you would go a whole different direction.
Because I simply can't get the blood that makes my dogs up. I can get close, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
it'll never be the same.
Families. Yeah. So
it'll never
I
be
would
the
just
same.
go and get one off the heavy T-tray stuff, and then I
Why?
go get me a nice Boyles bitch.
Why?
Because Mason and T-Tray, their throwing record are very, like, the looks and the attitude of the puppies are very similar. You know what I mean? So I would get one off of the NASCAR stuff, and I would take it back to probably Probably a Boyle's bitch, to be honest
Okay.
with you. And then I
Yeah.
would just, and then I would find say the male's half brother. That's the T-Tray stuff with a little bit of Chinaman in it, and I'd cross them up. The Boyle's Chinaman, that stuff. I would blend that, and I would have dogs very similar to what I got already.
Yeah.
That would be the closest thing I could do to repeat as far as looks and the
Yeah.
way they act.
Yeah. Same. I guess. Same. Burger. Different. Condiments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be exactly the same, so it would have its own uniqueness. You know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
That's where like I couldn't see. That's why I've placed dogs in South Carolina and Mississippi and you know what I mean, other places, because
What's your furthest place dog?
Mississippi right now, but there's one going to Kentucky. There's gonna be one in Illinois. There's a couple people that hit me up from Texas. Where would I get the Boyle's blood? Probably. I mean, I could hit up Brown. He owned a dog named No Name, and it was directly from Boyle's. So I'd probably get something off of one of them. You know what I mean? I already have a female off of that. Would be the blood I'd go to get that I already had. You know what I mean? Would be the Boyle's blood because I have a dog from Brown. And I like what it did cross to my Mason stuff, so I could see crossing that stuff to the T-Tray stuff. I get a very similar result.
So, how many dogs would you start with?
2 males and a female.
Okay, and how would you go about that breeding process?
They'd be half brothers. I'd breed them to that same male or female, and then I'd take opposite sex siblings off of them, flip it, take them back, and then you would look for an outcross that's probably the Chinaman stuff because it's already in there. That's probably what I'd go for my outcross.
Pure.
I mean,
as close to it as possible.
Some of the Frisco stuff because of the bolio in them. They already carry like factors to the Boyle stuff. I mean. I like to breed things with like factors. You know what I mean? I want them to be somewhat related. Every generation, I want them to be somewhat related to the other ones.
Yeah. And what would be your outcome that you would be looking for on a low level, on the lowest level?
I mean, it really depends. What do you mean by the outcome I'd be looking for?
Something, a certain consistency that you can, say is, a high percentage of happening litter after litter.
Yeah. So by crossing up a family like that, it's keeping it together, and doing the proper culling and checking them in the woods and all that stuff. The standard would come. You know what I mean? The standard you're gonna get is only what that family will throw.
Yeah, but I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking all these questions because whatever you breeding for, that's usually or typically the direction that you're going for. You'll discard everything else and go for whatever you're breeding for. Some people breed, strictly for, hunting, so the dogs that they, breed for have to carry the qualities that, they can excel at what they need or their style of hunting, and I'm not talking about schooling or anything like that. I'm talking about pretty much out the box, like basic characteristics, and traits.
Okay, so I would want them to be. So see, this is why I said the T-Tray blood, right? I would want them to be possessive and dominant, and I've seen that out of the T-tray blood. Like, I've known that some of them can be like man biters to certain people and stuff. From
Yeah,
what I've heard, I'm not 100%, you know what I mean, but from
and
what I've heard, I know.
that's what I'm saying. I'm glad you said that stuff like that because I know people like personally that will accept, for example, a man biter for their program because the other traits surrounding what they got out of that dog is excelling so much they would rather they're not paying attention to the man biting part.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
It depends on what you define as a man biter, right? As long as it don't bite
I'm not
me,
I'm
my
I'm not
fiance, or
talking
my
about
kid,
I'm not
you know.
talking about an excited biter. I'm talking about like a man biter,
Yeah, like a. So
a
I've
real
seen
man biter.
those that like they're fine with me, my kid, and my fiance, but then they'll
Mm-hmm.
eat you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm fine with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like a bulldog. Like
Mm-hmm.
growing up, if you seen a bulldog in a truck, you didn't stick your hand in that truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't try to pet it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and Mason's offspring, they're like that. Like Jarvis and
Yeah.
Bourbon, the ones that rode around. Like you can't reach in that truck. Like they'll
Mm-hmm.
eat you up. And
Mm-hmm.
they're protective. That's what I like. Protective. I like dominant. You know what I mean? I want them to have a little bit of that willingness. If you try them, they'll bite you. You know what I mean? I want them to have that.
Yeah.
That's all the dogs I grew up around were like
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I'm pretty particular about. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with food aggression towards other dogs. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
don't. They won't necessarily do it to me, but other
Yeah.
dogs, I like that. I don't want them going up. Just I don't want an animal to be able to run up and eat in their bowl and that dog not do nothing about it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because if you go to getting dogs that don't mind dogs and their food, they might let a possum come and eat it without even paying attention. You know what I mean? But my
Yeah.
dogs, they're so on point that if a possum gets in there, they're dead. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've picked up probably 4 or 5 possums out of Medusa's chain spot. The
Yeah,
idiots
but
just keep trying to go in there.
that's more so on the prey drive side,
Yeah. It so it
That's a little
depends on the
different.
situation they see it,
Yeah,
whether or
no,
not
but
it's a prey drive thing or not.
yeah,
To me.
because yeah, no, because and that's what I was saying because when you a lot of people skip over that fact is not talked about enough.
Mhm.
What what does somebody really want out of their program or when you going to go purchase a pup or anything like that, what it is when you dealing with people who are putting active, putting food on the plate, dealing with dogs, you know what I'm saying, like Will said, those are dogs that are real working dogs, so it's a certain standard of what they're breeding for, and typically what you're going to get out of the box getting a dog from them typically,
Yep.
But it's a lot of factors that play a part, man. Like, because I was talking about this earlier about because like for me, and starting a yard, like, man, to me it starts with one dog, man, and the dog doesn't even necessarily have to do with the progress of my yard from a mating perspective, and I'm not a breeder, so take it with a grain of salt. But this is what I've done prior, on previous occasions, and I've seen the results, and I got it from watching other people that do the same, had done the same thing.
Yep.
Started with one dog, and taking the time training that dog, spending the time, typically a female, and spending all the time training that dog, doing everything you possibly can, with that dog, but basically just typically introducing basic training and all that stuff, because that one dog is going to school everything else that from a puppy's age on your yard, teaching it proper manners, and if you got a house dog, teaching them how to maneuver around the house and all of that stuff,
Yep.
man, and that stuff count. So for me, that would be a big thing, because that one dog could live to be 12, 13, 14 years old, And how many litters will you have had that dog has, given the pups, at the early stage, a form of manners. It's like having an extra trainer with you on the yard, or some help on the yard. But you can't, having that one dog, you gotta spend the time, and it's gotta be a dog that can, you ain't got to worry about it necessarily eating other dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's not the necessary. It's not the purpose of you know setting, like, being your main dog. It's just the purpose of schooling your pups. I think that's I take the slow route, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
it's
know.
the
I know a
patient
lot
thing.
of people that does that. Lets
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
main dog
yeah,
influence their puppies and correct them and stuff.
yep.
Uh, I don't do that, but
Mm-hmm.
I can go into it here in a little bit. So
Yeah.
you know how, like, when you let two dogs play, right? Say you
Mm-hmm.
have two inside dogs and they play all the time, their
Mm-hmm.
cheeks and shit will look chewed up where they're messing
Yeah.
with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff. That's the only reason right there. I don't do none of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and if you think, a lot of people don't look at it like that, but they deal with it all the time, and they see it and they recognize it, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. If you got a yard full of dogs, and then you introduce a new dog to your yard, and nobody in your yard is a barker, and that one dog is going off, the whole yard might be turned out to be barkers eventually. You got a dog that you bring on your yard that is a digger. It likes to dig, and nobody on your yard digs. That dog start digging, and all of a sudden it becomes a chain reaction. And now it's genetic. Now the pup's doing it. Now the next, you know what I'm saying? So that's on the negative side. It can also work in reverse on the positive side. Even Dre was talking about he used to take his dogs when he was young. He had like one of his mentors used to have a yard full of real active dogs, hyper dogs, firecrackers, so to say. And Dre would take his pup over there, and the guy would hold his pup for maybe 2 weeks or a month, or it was more than 10 days. And Dre would, and if that dog wasn't acting a fool on the chain, when Dre picked it up, he was acting a fool. So these things, it's a lot of things that you can teach a dog, but it's a lot of things that a dog can teach another dog a lot quicker,
Yeah.
and they understand the assignment. So that's something that if you in the patient game, man, and you was starting the yard or doing the long haul, man, that's an option that you could do.
Yep.
Take the time. Just, it's a patient game, because I was that kid that got one dog, and then one dog turned to two turned to four turned to, you know what I'm saying, six, and next thing you know, I'm in over my head. I was in over my head when I had two, with my situation. So I can't give all the dogs the proper time. At least I couldn't, solo, being by myself, handling everything. But if I had one dog, like even now, I'll be more willing to take on two dogs at one time, two pups at one time, uh, with a trained dog,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I feel is necessary, right, is
Mm-hmm.
from the males, a willingness to breed at a young age. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like a drive to breed. That's
Yeah.
important. If people aren't breeding for that, that's gonna make it to where we have to AI all these dogs like bullies do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they won't even naturally want to breed. I have a video of
Let me
Kaiser's
go.
pup humping
Yeah.
his sister at 12 weeks old.
Yeah. Hey, the chat going off. Let me go to this stuff. A dog that will and want to bite are two different dogs. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep. That's insane. Badger said that. Tony M say, anybody ever came to y'all wanting a man biter, man stopper? Not
Yeah.
me, but like I know people that have looked over that right there because the dogs had other qualities that they wanted and they didn't care.
Uh,
Yeah. I know I ain't running around looking for a man biter. And then you got some newcomers that don't know what they man, everybody who like a lot, especially men when we young, man, the first dog you want that you want that SS Camaro, you with the supercharger, you want that, you want something fast, hot, in the whole nine. Everybody young, they first dog, they want that firecracker. So I could definitely see man biters getting pushed off to them on the cool, man. You know what I'm saying? Them just not even knowing, and the person who giving them the dog not saying.
and there's different degrees to in these dogs. There's degrees in every facet you look into, right?
Yeah.
So there's degrees to man biters. Uh, my
I,
dogs know that I am dominant over them. You know what I'm saying? Because of
mhm.
certain things that I do. So like I don't have to worry about my dogs biting me or my daughter or none of that. But
Yeah.
like my cousin, he went up there yesterday. I told him wait on me. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
was only a chain spot below, and he was like, "No, I think he'll be nice to me. He liked me when he was younger." And
Hmm.
and I knew from instant. I was like, "Nah, you better not." And as soon as I said it, he had a hold of him. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Was it
Like,
bad?
no, he didn't get him
Yeah.
bad. He's lucky. He's lucky. He got his
Yeah.
hoodie. He ripped the whole sleeve off his hoodie.
Yeah.
I was grabbing the brake stick when I seen the sleeve go flying, and I was like, okay, he ain't got him.
Yeah.
But
What
I
you
mean,
call
no, that was 100% his fault, dude. I
Yeah,
mean,
insane badger say I don't support dogs that are trained to and or is encouraged to bite. They just will from pups. They just naturally love women and children. I'm a master, so I'm the only exception.
yeah,
Hey,
that's Haywood.
mm-hmm.
You know what I
Hey,
mean? Like,
yeah, you said JT say as far as barking a lot and digging, uh, what he say? Yeah, I guess that was it. But Insane Badger say, I got dogs that won't let you pet over the head. You gotta bow down. I train them to never accept shit from different people under no circumstances. Couldn't nobody just walk in my yard and grab my dog. And that's an important thing too, man, because it's a lot of dog thieves out there, man. Yeah.
shit,
He say,
I got a solution for the dog thieves. Come and try to take Haywood off
yeah,
his chain.
yeah,
That'll fix
yeah.
that.
A lot of he's will say a lot of males don't know pussy, his ass gotta go if he ain't fooling
Yep,
with it. Yeah.
yep. There's some
Yeah, man.
to me, there's something wrong with a male dog that don't have at 2 years old that don't have the interest to breed. There's something wrong with that dog. I mean,
Yeah.
hormonally, you know what I mean, that you can't see. To me, I mean, humans, young boys get horny at 13. You know what I mean? So like, why would a dog at two
Yeah.
years old not be?
You 13, you ready to shoot the whole club up, man. You
Yeah, yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Man, look, man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just I run into people that have a house or hustle without a family and want a man biter. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah.
so some of it when it comes to see, that's why I'm a little more cautious of the people that get to my dogs, because they'll put them in a mindset like they're not used to handling a dog that way that has possessive tendencies. And I've brought up possessive tendencies a bunch of times in like dog groups and stuff, and everybody acted like I'm stupid. No, my dogs have possessive tendencies, right? When you're playing with them, they'll keep that shit from you. Uh, at a young age, some of them will even growl at you around the food bowl. You correct them one time, they'll never do it again. But it's just their
Yeah.
possessive tendency. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got a
Uh,
way to get that up out of him quick.
yeah. But
Quick.
at some instances, like I didn't break that shit. You know what I mean? I want Haywood
Yeah.
to be possessive. Whenever he's got a hold of something, you ain't taking it from him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's his. So that's the mindset of kind of like I'm raising a yard full of bulldogs. Just because I don't do old things with them, they still have all the traits. If it became illegal tomorrow, you could take these dogs and compete with them. Or if it become legal tomorrow, like they will still have all the traits. They'll still like. That's one reason too. I don't let dogs correct them at all. They're not. None of my dogs are used to a correction by a dog fight instantly. You know what I mean? If they got loose and tried to correct each other, instant. You know what I mean? Like they ain't no correction. I don't know. Some of that, like I knew that I wanted to raise apex like elite animals, so like I've not let them correct it. Like Haywood, he's never curved down to nothing. Nothing. I've walked him up to bulls, grown dogs, like nothing. And he's never done the tail tuck or lay down. I've never seen that. I've never seen it out of by a man, you know, him do it to a man or nothing. So like I didn't want to take that from him. You know what I mean? Like some dogs, like we can go to training and taking all this shit from them, but we won't naturally know what we had that we started with, right? So like I kind of naturally let them become who they are. That way I've not influenced it. You know what I mean? They are who they are because that's who they are. Not because I raised them a different way. And sometimes even raising a dog a different way don't take that out of them, right?
No.
Thor and Dixie were raised the exact same way, right? Thor, he was really nice, you know, he was a good dog, but Dixie'd eat your ass alive, right? You wasn't taking nothing from her. She was vicious. She bit 4 people in her lifetime, you know what I mean? And almost got my cousin Brent. Like that's just who she was. And you couldn't take it from her. Like anybody that says they could break that out of Haywood, yeah, right. Maybe at a puppy's age, but not now. You ain't gonna take that from him. It would take some serious hard correction to change that. Like and it wouldn't be productive. So that's what I told my cousin. I was like I'm glad he didn't actually bite you because I don't want him to ever live bite somebody unless he has to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tony M say it's crazy to me to think a American Pit Bull won't bite me because it's an American Pit Bull. I just leave other people's dogs alone, and that's a fact because I don't care if it's a damn Chihuahua or whatever the case may be. You know, he got teeth. That bad boy can bite. You know what I'm saying? I don't, you know. It is what it is, man.
I've seen dogs that really, really like people, right? But then somebody come around and they don't like them. And I've trumped it up to, I think it's whatever that person thinks whenever they're walking up, their energy, what they're thinking, you know, like, oh, look at that. You know, they're like, look at that big-headed dog, or, you know, they thinking hateful anyways in their head. And then that dog feels that.
Yeah.
We went to a yard to buy a female, and all the dogs were fine with me, but acted like they wanted to kill my brother. And I think it's because he had a gun on him. If you want me to be honest with you, I think it's because he had a gun, and they knew it. They could tell, like, it. And Hunter, my brother was like, I ain't worried. I know that if that dog got loose, that he'd snatch that dog up faster. I was like, he was like, I could tell by the guy he was, so I wasn't worried. I'm like, yep. I mean, some of these men, like I had a buddy that helped me out in the yard, right? And his name was Lawrence, and I went to school with him and stuff. He's a good dude. And I'm telling you, if one of my dogs got out, he'd dive on it like a football player. Like harder than I would sometimes. And I'm like, man, like, you really know what these dogs are in order to do that right there, right? Because most people be just like, oh, it's okay, I'll grab it in a second, you know? Lawrence would pile drive that dog into the ground. Come here, like.
Yes, sir.
Because so like it started out with him coming to help me a little bit, just clean up the yard, and he didn't have no interest in them. But after a while, like I caught him like loving on them, and like he got to where he really like liked the dogs that like he had favorite dogs himself. You know what I mean? That are on my yard, like Haywood. He'll eat anybody up, bro. Loves Lawrence to death. Loves him like he's his dog. So like, it's not that Haywood's a man biter. It's that he don't trust men. You know what I'm saying? He don't trust nothing. So like, he'll bite out of instinct. I don't trust you. You can hurt me. Bam, on it. Yeah. Like that's one thing about him. But it's not out of control. because I can take him to the dog shows, have him at the dog show, the judge touching him, opening his mouth, everything like that, and he's fine.
Yeah.
So that's one reason I've never really seen a problem out of it, because if you hook him to that chain, he'll eat you up. He'll eat a man up. But unhook it, fine.
Insane Honey Badger say a lot of dominance on my end came from my bitches. I started with I actually raised them to be more elite than the males.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, so like dominance out of females, like some of it's just they're a product of, you know, the psychology of the sexes of these dogs, right? Like females, they're producing, their pups do carry a lot more of their DNA, so like of course they're gonna have dominant tendencies anyways. Like I was talking to a buddy and I was like, do you notice like your females being a little more nuts than the males? Like the males are laid back, will do anything you want them to do, but then the females are just like, they're off the chain. And like that is a trait that carries in my dogs, you know what I mean? That's why most of the time I'm willing to let people get males. It's because they won't, I'm not putting them in a situation to get them in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Like, I mean, there's a lot of people. So I'm not one of these people that's like, well, like he shouldn't have a pit bull terrier. You know what I mean? Like, I really ain't that picky. I've seen, my mom had no experience with them and done great. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like,
you be surprised to how many people who don't have any knowledge of the dogs at all and have just a little bit of really good guidance.
Yep.
And man, you would think they had the dog, you know, they've been doing this their whole life, you know, with one dog, you know. So I've seen that, you know. I think it's better sometimes like that because you don't have a lot of BS, you know, built up if you get around a good mentor.
Yep. And I mean, like, so like some people back in the day were mentored, but because they met them people. But like nowadays, we have a little bit more openness to lots of mentoring because of the way we can communicate, the videos we can send. Like say you bought a dog from Maurice Carver back in the day, right? You couldn't send him a video. This dog's doing this. Why is this? You know what I mean? You just had to describe it to him, and hopefully he understood what you were describing through the phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas now I can take a straight up video and send it straight to him in just seconds, and like we can figure out something. You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit more openness to mentoring and all that stuff because of the social media. Like, there was only a few people in my area that like had bulldogs, and my mom didn't really fool with them, you know what I mean? So, like, there was a couple she did, but for the most part, most of them people she didn't. My dad, he knew all of them.
Yeah, so Insane Honey Badger say, I don't know why pups grow up like that. They only fool with women and children. I guess I'm enough for them. They do not like other men. I think my dogs are sexist.
Yeah.
It might be, man.
Some of it is because women and children have that high-pitched voice. Yeah, that they're, you know what I mean? The dogs crave that. They like that. It gives them stimulation. So, like, they'll be okay with that. And then other men come over like, hey, how's that dog bred? You know what I mean? They're like, okay, you ain't fascinating enough. You ain't. Yeah. And I mean, like, some of it's like I said, could be what the men are thinking when they're standing there looking at the dog. That dog could hate them because of what they're thinking. And I genuinely believe that. Because I've seen dogs not like me, and I'm looking at it like, that's a scraggly motherfucker.
most small dogs hate me. I'm talking about hate me. I've been bit by more small dogs than anybody in this, man. I'm telling you, man.
The only dog I've ever been maliciously bit by, right? So I grew up around some dangerous bulldogs, like tons of bulldogs. But we were down at my stepmom's friend's house, and I was just walking around, and hell, this dog comes up and bites me on the back of the leg, and it's just some like stray mutt, and it only had 3 legs. Yeah. And it bit the shit out of me, and I'm like, damn it, like that's the only dog I've ever been like maliciously like it tried to bite me. You know what I mean? I've been bit several times in the playing instance, like grab the rope and go to shake it, and whenever they
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
his
that's
back on it,
different. That's
yeah,
different to me. Like I've been bit, like I don't even count those. I've been bit so many
yeah,
times like that, and it's I don't even count it because they not trying to like get at you. They trying to get at the object, and it's just it is what it is.
Now, one thing I'll say, so like when people used to come over when I was young,
Mhm.
I'd let Mason and Molly out, and like there was a bunch of tricks they would do together, that I could
Yeah.
get them to do, and like they would tug together, and like they worked as a team. So
Mhm.
I would have like my brother, he would hold Mason about 75 yards away, and I'd hold
Yeah.
a rope with, because like I'd done it so much, I knew about how wide his mouth was. So I'd
Mhm.
hold a rope where only his mouth could hit it, and he'd hit it full speed, like and never bite me. He never
Yeah.
broke my skin once. Like
Yeah.
there was a ton of tricks like back in the day, like I'd have people do, because I was one of them that this breed ain't that bad, and I tried to spread it to everybody I seen. You know what I mean? I'd tell them this
Mhm.
is an American Pit Bull Terrier. You know what I mean? After
Yeah.
they pet it all up, I never told them before. I'd let them pet it and love it and get down in its face, and then I'd tell them it's a Pit Bull Terrier. And like I've literally seen people like grab their kids and pull them back, and I'm like, man, this dog will bite you before it ever bites that kid. Come on now. Like
Yeah.
I'm a kid raising it, and you think it. You think that your kid should be scared of it? I'm a kid raising this dog.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
started out with Mason, bro, I was a kid. I was 17 years old. And I got his
Yeah.
daddy when I was
Man.
probably 13.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Uh, I believe that a lot more people can own these dogs than people like to let on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's just like, they talk like that like it's a selling factor to the serious people. Well, not everybody can have them. Not really. Like, there's a lot of people that would do a lot better than you think with dogs.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just some people are. I mean, they may not put off that vibe, but they like it. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't try to give them too much human intellect, but as soon as I don't, they do something that make me think they're smarter than what they are. Yep. Yeah, I mean they'll always blow your mind, especially when you own a few of them.
Yeah. You gotta read the chat, man. You
Yep.
be missing out on the chat.
Uh, them dogs telepathically know your intentions. They know when you mentally talk shit to them, or just look at them face to face and do facial expressions. They can tell when someone's hating or bullying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They literally can. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So like,
Tony M say I be scared sometimes because the same dog that's perfect and submissive with me will put on the alpha in charge hat when they with my girl. Yeah.
yep. Some of
Yep.
that's the role they play. You know what I mean? Who they are in their head. Uh, because like one thing that's not really talked about, we mold mentally who they are. Other than physically and genetically, they are who they are, but mentally, we mold them. You know what I mean? We make them the dog they become. So,
Yeah.
and every interaction, you know what I mean, from the time they're born. That's why, like, I honestly don't like getting puppies from people. Like, I got one from Jay, and I like her, and I got one from a legend, I like him. You know what I mean? But other than that, like, I don't really like getting puppies from people because they either don't fool with them enough when they're little and get them, cognitively like aware, and like, or they fool with them too much and then they make it a burden later on. That dog's a burden because of what it's used to, and it's hard to break it from the first 6 week cycle.
Yeah.
Like like people get dogs and they're like, this dog's hard as hell to house train, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
they had them either in like one of them little wire crates and they stayed in there the whole time and they just used the bathroom wherever and eat wherever because the bowl gets sat down in the middle of it. You know what I mean? That that like if you can, I took a wooden welcome box, right, and I put a wall in the center of it and a little walk path over the middle once they started moving around, and my puppies would go to one side to use the bathroom and then go to the other side to eat and sleep. Literally, they had half of it that was just for the bathroom. And
Yeah.
and I just, from the time they started moving, I put that in there, and they figured it out themselves. Wherever I fed them at, they went the opposite to use the bathroom. Uh, Same as like my whelping kennel, right? I don't never have no problems with puppies using the bathroom in my dog houses. I've seen people have that problem because I feed them when they're little. For the first feeding they're ever fed, they're in the doghouse, right? For the first couple feedings, and eventually they'll get where they eat and go straight out the door as soon as they eat and go to use the bathroom. And that's because they've seen the mama eat and go out and use the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like they pick up on things like that. So like that's one reason like I'm glad I built my whelping kennel when I first started out, because it's made like people get dogs from me and then be like, it's already house trained. I just have to take it out accordingly. I'm like I have puppies that people have that have never used the bathroom in the house.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it's just because genetics rocking and JT. Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's one thing I'm pretty particular about. Like we got a dog that was just like left in one of them wire crates outside. Like probably should have never gave the guy her money, right? And like she was really hard to do anything with as far as getting her. Like it took her longer to pick up on things, even like tugging and all this stuff, because
Yeah.
like she was with her puppies for 10 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and they're all just so sporadic in that small area. It messes with
Yeah.
her mental cognitive. I'm trying to think of the word. It messes with their like mindset because they're just so hyped up all the time. They are not in a big enough area to where they can kind of get away from each other and have a little bit of individuality to them. That's one thing that's important. That's why, like, I prefer people. A lot of people be like, "No pups are leaving my house till 12 weeks." I prefer you to come and get them at 6 weeks. As soon as their ears are cut, I want you to be bonding with them, holding them, helping take them stitches out, all that stuff, because it's important for their brain later on and their bond with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that they feel that pain and then you're over here loving on them, holding them, taking them out, and like they fight it when you're trying to take the stitches out, but after their ears will like right after they'll start standing up normal and stuff like you, and you can tell mentally they're like, okay, he helped me. You know what I mean? I've seen it. Like at a young age, you can tell they're like, he helped me.
Yeah.
I only leave the stitches in for 4 days. That's another thing I see a lot of people have problems with. They want to leave the stitches for 2 weeks until they scab up and dry. I cut them off in 4 days.
Yeah. Tony M say, me saying calm your ass down is different than my girl high pitched baby talk commands.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yep,
Honey Badger says definitely the breeder has and or caters to the advancement of your dogs. You get slow starting skittish dogs from folks who usually don't got the time for that, and it makes that litter that way.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Man, we're coming up on that hour mark, man. We're gonna have to go over to Pimps, man, and see what's happening with men at work.
Time to clock in.
Yeah, time to clock in, man. But everybody already probably clocked in, man, because we working. Oh, we working, man. You know what it is, man. Coming up next, we got that men at work, man, with the Mr. CEO, Pimps Over Simps himself. Yes, sir, man. So that's what's coming up, man. And y'all go, if you ain't a member, man, what you doing? What you doing? It only costs $1 a month, man. $1 a month. And we got some new exclusive stuff coming for you too. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And if you haven't liked it, subscribe, man. Go ahead and hit the like button. It costs you nothing. And it keeps us in the algorithm so you know when we live. Cause that's what's up, man. So we can get this info from you, from us to you, and get that info from you to us. Yes, sir, man. But that's about it, man. What's going on, Elevated?
So I took a video yesterday of me worming the pups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put it up after men at work. Let all the shows get done, then I'm gonna put it up. That way people have something else to go check out.
Yeah, so y'all go check out Elevated after men at work, man.
It'll be the most
Yeah.
updated. It'll be the most updated update of them.
Nah,
That
that's
I've
what's
done
up, man.
since the
I
show.
like that you getting active on that channel, man. That's what we need, man. We need that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Because I mean, I might start going like live 30 minutes in the evening or an hour just to like cook it up, just on my channel with some people who want to come through.
Yeah, man. But
Start talking
shoot.
about some of the things we got going on.
Yeah, man. But you know what it is, man. We running past time, so we gonna go ahead and get up out of here, man, and let y'all know what it is, man. It's going down over here on the Shogun Unlimited channel, man. But we're glad you kicked it. Hope you got some news you can use. And we out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Beat drop slow, head not flow. Blood don't lie, it's that old yellow line. Sack it from the south, Michonne on the rise. Boogeyman bark, leave a mark every time. We don't breed for clout, we breed for spine. DNA thick, can't clone this pride. That Shogun blood, yeah, the legends don't die. Started with Boogeyman, ghost in the chain, locked in the game, never moved for fame. Old mountain lions run deep in the flame. Socket brought the fire, Michonne brought the name. Then came Fat Boy, muscle in the frame. Man, hard, put respect on the name. Shotgun smooth, but the work insane. Sugar sweet jit, but our bite ain't tame. Kiki in the back, had a game in the veins. Gatorade heavy, ran it straight through the rain. Red Ninja close, watch him work in the lane. Renegade rider can't hold that chain. Blood don't lie, it's that old yellow line. Socket from the south, Michonne on the rise. Boogeyman bark, leave a mark every time. We don't breed for clout, we breed for spine. DNA thick, can't clone this pride. That Shogun blood, yeah, the legends don't die. Ain't no luck, just grit and grind. Every dog here put work in time. Lady Rage got that fire in her eyes. Red alert taught us how to recognize signs. Blood heavy like a 2-ton chain. Everything proven, no need to explain. They asked what's in it, that yellow campaign. Built off real, we don't fake no strain. Second was the flame, Michonne lit the wick. If you know, then you know that line too slick. From the field to the show, every move so thick you can't blueprint this. It's the legacy pick. Blood don't lie, it's that old yellow line. Sack it from the south, Michonne on the rise. Boogeyman bark, leave a mark every time. We don't breed for clout, we breed for spine. DNA thick, can't clone this pride. That Shogun blood, yeah, the legends don't die.